Millie is brown skin for context, right? Mind you, she told me he only like light skins. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. And in today's video, as you can tell by the title, this is the time my childhood best friend tried to get with my crush. So we're just gonna get into it. So for context, we're gonna call this girl Millie, right? So Millie, me and her had met in middle school, and I did a story time on her and how we fell out. So with that being said, if y'all want to know the story time about how me and Millie fell out, go ahead and watch my little bestie part 1 and 2 little series, okay? But with that being said, long story short, me and Millie knew each other since 7th grade, right? And we was best of friends, like literally, like I'm talking about so freaking close, y'all. Like I, at that point, didn't think that I would ever meet somebody that I would get so close to and that like I would really, just bond with, Like I just was like, you know what, that's gonna be my girl forever. Like we're gonna be besties for life, literally. Little did I know, right? So, if y'all don't know, like I said, if you're not familiar with the whole background of, me and her friendship, long story short, once we got to high school, we ended up getting separated our freshman year, and she went to this magnet school while I went to this public school for the first time. And after our freshman year of high school, I had signed up to, go to her high school, and I got accepted because, like I said, it's a magnet school. So if you're like, what's magnet school? It's basically where it's free, but you still have to apply. Like, it's like an in-between of public and private school, because it's like public school in the sense of anybody can go. It's free. You don't have to pay to go there, but it's selective like private school. Like private school, if you paying, you can go. But like I said, it's only open to a select few, because if you don't got the funds, you can't go. Whereas this school, if you don't got the brains, you can't go, because it's all based on, your little test scores and stuff from the state. So with that being said, I had did really great my freshman year of, high school. Like I really had got my grades up, and I was doing all I was supposed to do while also playing sports. Like I was getting A's and B's. Like I was really proud of myself because I was really putting the effort in, right? So I started going to school with Millie, and me and Millie, like I thought, was having a time. But slowly, me and her just kept getting like further and further away from each other. And it was one point where we wasn't really talking at all, right? And mind you, when I went to this school, her friend group, she, and she introduced me to them. And some of the girls, I knew them because we went to middle school together, while some of the girls were people that she met at this new school. So with that being said, the girls who already had knew me, they would still talk to me and still be cool with me. But the newer girls, like they would be nice, but like they wasn't as like cool with me, because I understand, like they felt like they owed her more loyalty or whatever. Whereas our previous friends, it was kind of like, I know both of y'all, I like both of y'all, so I'm gonna keep the friendship with both, whatever. But right, me and Millie, we started getting back close again. And during this time of me going to school with Millie, it was this boy, and we're gonna call him Ryan. And Ryan, I had knew him because we had went to church together growing up. Like we didn't talk when we went to church together growing up. I just knew of him. Like I didn't even know his name at that time when we were growing up. I just knew that he went to church with me because I always seen him at Bible study or whatever. So with that being said, at this point, we're in high school, and when we was going to, Bible study, it was like elementary school, early middle school. So with that being said, I had the hugest crush on Ryan. Like I just thought he was so freaking cute, right? Like I just thought he was just so cute. And mind you, my friend Millie had knew him because she had went to school with him for one school year, back in middle school, because she went to school with me in middle school for 2 years, which was 7th and 8th grade. So she went to that school for, like I said, for 6th grade, and they only knew that each other for that little bit of time. But now it's high school, and of course, you know, it's a different story, and they had a lot of mutual friends. But anyways, like I said, I had the huge crush on him. Like, most people in our grade knew I liked him, especially because I had classes with a lot of his friends, and some of them, like, I was cool with. Like, we would talk to each other when we was in English, you know, just talk mess and crack jokes or whatever to make the time go by. And so a lot of his friends would always like make jokes about me liking him, and they would also like make little jokes to me. But the thing is, Ryan never just straight up was like, I'm not interested, and he didn't even pull the childish, oh, y'all need to stop playing with me, like, I don't, like, he didn't even do none of that. Like, he never told nobody to like stop because he's not interested. He would just smile and then just like, you know, go about his business. So me not thinking nothing, like, oh, like, I should have knew if somebody is not outwardly like making it known that they like you, that's your sign right there that they're not interested. Nobody who truly likes you will have you confused. So anyways, I never knew if he truly liked me because, like I said, he wouldn't straight up shut the stuff down, but he also wouldn't, you know, participate in it necessarily, like making it seem like he liked me, right? So anyways, like, I really, really liked him. And also too, like, a big thing that like I liked about him is that we were both huge Drake fans, right? Like, I'm talking about, this man literally had the Drake haircut where he had the little scoop. I'm gonna put a little picture in here because the real Drake fans know what I'm talking about. This right after he had cut off his curly hair during his controller era. Yeah, it was during that time. If you know, you know. But anyways, like I said, huge crush on Ryan. When Millie, she finally comes to me and pulls me to the side and was like, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you because honestly nobody else is gonna be. You know, Ryan, he is cute, but he don't like dark skins. Like, he only dates light skinned girls. All the girls he's ever been with has been light skinned. And she's like, even though I went to school with him 1 year in 6th grade, even it was known then that he's only ever liked light skinned women. So once she said that, it was wraps, because it was kind of like, okay, well, now I know I really don't have a chance because I'm already taking off the docket, baby. Ain't nothing light about me, not even the coach, okay? Nothing is light about me but my aura. So with that being said, I just dropped the crush straight right there, because it was like, okay, like, now I really know, like, okay, there's no trying to sugarcoat it or maybe be like, oh, like, you know, maybe I'm different. Because one thing about me, even though, you know, I do believe that every woman is different in their own aspect or whatever, but I feel like when it comes to a man and trying to change a man's mind, you not different, Bookie. A man is only willing to change for somebody if he really likes them. Like, they'll make an exception or whatever. But for the most part, men ain't changing their ways if they don't want to change their ways. And that goes for if they say that they have a preference for a specific group, right? So, like I said, I'm not delusional. I wasn't about to try to change his mind. And also too, like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the most confident, because even though I was confident within myself when it came to my skin tone, like, I was a plus size girl, still am a plus size girl, and I was a lot bigger than a lot of the girls my age at that time, because even though I was 15, I had huge breasts, and I'm not as big as I was back then, because at that time when I was a sophomore, y'all, I was literally in the early 200s. Like, my heaviest at that time was like 215, and even though, yes, that is pretty heavy for a 15-year-old, like, now that I'm looking back at it and I look back at my old pictures, if I could find any old pictures, I'll put this you know, up here on the screen or whatever. But I wasn't like even that big when I'm looking back. But of course, you know, as kids, like, it's a whole different story. You're viewing life through a different lens. And, you know, if I seen a woman who was 215 today, I wouldn't think, oh, this biggest hit, she did, she that, she fat or whatever. Like, I wouldn't think nothing of that. But, you know, at that time, 15-year-old me was like, oh my god, like, I mean, of course he wouldn't want to be with me. Like, you know, I'm literally 200 plus pounds. Like, like, I just was not, you know, feeling like I was a shit. Like, I didn't have the mindset of, it's okay that he wasn't interested in me because I'm not his cup of tea, but I'm still that girl. Like, I didn't have that mindset. It was more of like, of course, like, I mean, duh, like of course he don't like me, especially because my like relationship with like black boys and black men was like a lot different at that time. And I always say like a lot of my first bullies were always black boys, so like I always have like a hard time like with black men sometimes when it comes to that aspect, because they treat me a lot nicer now, and I feel like it's because I've grown into like my body and stuff. And you know, I look a lot different than I did at that time. Like that was almost over 10 years ago, because I'll be 24 this year. But you know, like I had a lot of unresolved issues. So with that being said, when she told me, it wasn't even like a no-brainer to me that, oh, he's not interested. So I go on about my business, and you know, we go through the school year, right? And so once we're getting to the end of the school year, my friend Millie, she over here telling the group how she liked a guy, right? But the thing is, she was not telling me who the specific guy was. The whole group knew who he was. Mind you, like I said prior, everybody in our grade knew that I had a huge crush on this guy. Like even people that I wasn't friends with, because sometimes like they would bring it up and I'd be like, how the sister, how you know that? Y'all be talking about me. Yeah. So anyways, with that being said, if people that didn't even know me like that knew that I liked him, the group definitely knew I liked him. So like I said, she had told the whole group who she liked, and me not thinking nothing of it, like, okay, why is she telling the whole group but she's not telling you? Like, there must be a specific reason why she's not telling you. And at first I was thinking maybe it's because, you know, we still working on our relationship, the friendship and whatever, so maybe she, you know, don't feel like she could really, you know, say who it is yet. But I should have took that as a sign, okay? So anyway, so as it gets to like the last few days of school, she telling us like, okay, I'm gonna tell the guy how I feel, and you know that I have feelings for him. And she was like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you on the last day of school who it is, you know, referring to me, finally, you know, revealing who the guy was, right? So the last day come, I'm hype, I'm lit, because you know, first I'm like, yes, my best bitch about to shoot her shot. Because one thing about my friend is that she was not the type of girl to ever approach a boy or nothing. Like she was the one to get approached, especially once she started growing into her own and, you know, really just becoming like a young woman at that time. So with that being said, the last day comes, right? And we walk her to the room, and he's in my old chemistry classroom, because I used to have that same teacher before I got switched out, but that's besides the point. So he's in this old chemistry teacher's class, right? Because the girl, she also had that class with him, and I think we was like just chilling. Like they wasn't even like requiring us to be in our specific classes, but like we was just doing anything, y'all. It was literally the last day of school. Like they was just letting us do anything. So I don't know why she wasn't in class. But anyways, we walk her there, right? Mind you, she's like, no, don't come to the door yet. Like don't come to the door like after, once I walk out or whatever. And mind you, I'm like, okay, like period, like get y'all in, get y'all in. So she go in there, do her big one, and come back out and was like, oh my god, y'all, I did it. And then I was like, okay, who's the guy? And then right as I peek in, she says his name, and I'm like, Ryan? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, so you one of them, bitch. You a funky bitch. You a funky bitch. Cause I'm like, ain't no way. Cause I'm like, even though, you know, that ain't my man, like he obviously don't want me if he only like light-skinned women. But I was still like, bitch, like, you're weird. Like, I was sick as heck. And to make it worse, I still was her friend even after that. Like, that wasn't even why I stopped being friends with her. It was another reason, and that you can find out in that video about her. So anyways, like I said, she said Ryan, right? And I said, oh, okay. So I'm like, I was so in shock that I didn't even know like what to really say. So then I asked her, I said, well, what did he say? Because like at that point my heart had sank, because first she had broke my heart for even doing that, and then it also sank because I didn't know what his you know, response was gonna be. Because I've experienced this where I've been friends with girls and they'll know that I like a guy and still go after him, and usually the guy is always going, and so then they'll get together or whatever, and I'd be sick as fuck. So I'm thinking, you know, like I said, my heart sank And I'm thinking, oh, they gonna get together, because even though Millie is brown skin, and I feel like I should have said that at the beginning of the video, Millie is brown skin for context, right? Mind you, she told me he only liked light skins. Keep that in mind. But, you know, like I said, my friend is a really pretty girl, so she was always one of those girls that even though guys would say that ignorant stuff, they would still always try to talk to her. So I feel like she has that mindset of I'm the exception, and I feel like a lot of brown skinned women have that mindset, because I even have a friend right now who love her some Chris Brown, and even with like all his allegations, she'd be like, you know, that ain't about me though. And I'm like, girl, he not gonna pick you. Like, he don't like people who look like us. But I digress. So anyways, she has that mentality of, you know, like, even though he said this, like, I'm not, you know, who he talking about, like, I'm an exception. But his response to her was, okay, thanks, cool. And that was it. That's all he said. She said that's literally all he said. And I remember I wanted to jump for joy in that moment. I remember in the inside, I was like, yeah, that's what the fuck you get. Because why would you even think that you were going to be the exception? Especially because me and her, like, even though I do consider myself dark skinned, me and her wasn't too far from each other when it came to shades. Like, when it comes to brown skin, she's definitely a true brown skin. Like, she not one of those brown skins that when she don't get light for one day, she automatically turn light skin. Like, no, even in the winter time, she's still brown skin. Like, she's more of like a nice little like chocolate chip cookie, like, you know, in the summertime. And then she get a little bit lighter. She like a snickerdoodle in the wintertime. So with that being said, like, she a true brown skin. And I remember, I'm not gonna lie, like I said, on some hate and stuff, I was just like, that's what you get, because I don't know why you thought you was gonna be the exception. And, you know, I'm not gonna lie, once I had left that school, I always wondered, like, if he ever tried to, like, spin the block on her, or even try to get with her later. Like I said, because she was glowing up as we was just getting older. You know, that's what you want as a human. You want to get better looking as you get older. So anyways, I always kind of wondered that, but me and her, like, stopped being friends. So I never asked, because it was never my business, and it was just kind of like, you know, I don't want to know, because I feel like it would hurt my feelings even more. Like, dang, he spent the block after dubbing you the first time. But the crazy thing is, I was telling this girl that I was friends with this story, because the girl that I was friends with, she actually went to school with Ryan when they were in middle school as well. Like, she went to, like, middle school with him the whole 3 years though, unlike my friend. But I don't know if she knew my friend, because I asked her, like, oh, do you know so and so? And she's like, I don't know who that is. Like, I don't know that girl. I ain't never heard of her. She's like, but I do know him because he was popular when he was in middle school. And she was just like, yeah, it is true. Like, he only strictly goes for light skinned women. He don't date nothing darker than the paper bag. She's like, he don't even dabble with the brown skin. She's like, he's strictly on the light skin train. So she's just like, even though your friend did that foul stuff, she wasn't lying when it came to that. Like, he really is colorist when it come to his date life. And so when I found that out, I'm not gonna lie, it reassured me, because I said, okay, well, at least I know he ain't trying to get with her. And it made me feel, like I said, it made me feel good again. It kind of sparked that little bit of joy that I had the first time he dubbed her. But yeah, guys, I don't know. I just randomly thought about this story time, because I know I have not been consistent. Like, when I started this channel back up again, I was over here posting 2 videos a week. And I remember I was like, okay, I need to do every 3 days of me recording. Like, every 3 days I'm gonna record a video, and I was doing that and being consistent. But then, like I said, life has been happening to where I kind of just got, like, really down and discouraged, and I still wanted to make content, but also too, I was kind of like running out of, like, things to talk about and, like, story times, because some stuff is kind of still, like, you know, I still don't want to necessarily talk about it on my YouTube channel. And then there's certain things that I am comfortable talking about. But, you know, in order for me to, you know, let y'all know who I am, I do feel like I have to be open to a certain degree. So that's something that I'm working on. And you know, I've gotten slower with the videos. As y'all can tell now, for these last few weeks I've been posting like one video a week. But y'all, trust and believe, like, we're gonna stay consistent, and I think I'm gonna stay on this one video a week train, just because it's a lot easier like to handle, and it's not as much pressure. And I've been doing a lot more Uber Eats as well, so that's another reason why I haven't been as consistent, because I usually do Uber Eats late as like heck after I get off of work, and I also record usually at nighttime after I get off of work. So usually once I'm done with Ubering, I'll be so exhausted, like I'm like, what is a camera? Like, and don't get me wrong, like there be some nights where I'd be like, I should like record after I do Uber, but literally every time I'm like so swamped and drained, and I'm like, all I want to do is lay in my bed and watch TikToks. But y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed that story time. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you people later.